Hey everyone, welcome to your second snap take of the day. Today, we're doing something a little bit different for this afternoon. We are doing an Ask Me Anything / mailbag styled episode. Reason we're doing this is, well, I keep getting asked a lot of the same questions, so I posted in a few of my usual haunts, Twitter, a few of the Discords I hang out in. Shout out to Fazer, the Marvel Snap Zone Discord, and I said, who's got some questions for me? And I got a bunch of responses and I categorized them, broke them down. We're going to answer those questions. So hopefully you find this interesting. Hopefully you find this informative. This is the first time we've done this. If you like it, we'll do it more often. If you don't like it, we won't do it again. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel about it down in the comments. But before we go any further, I'd like to explain why you should subscribe to my channel. On this channel, every single weekday and anytime there is an important piece of news, we do a video. We do 2 decks a day every single weekday, decks that get you ahead of the meta before other big content creators are aware that these decks exist. This helps you gain cubes, it helps you hit infinite, it helps you get infinity tickets and infinity borders, and our goal is to help you achieve your goals in the game of Marvel Snap as best we can. In addition, we're home to the single biggest season pass giveaway in the entire game. Every single season, we give away at least, very often more, at least 5 season passes, and we have a grand prize. We're adding a second giveaway based on the last few days of feedback. We're going to give away, we write I'm a Marvel Snap Zone writer. Our podcast is the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. We've got an episode with Wlos, for currently W, formerly Wobolos, and Wolverthor, going over the top 10 sleeper decks in Marvel Snap, right on the Marvel Snap Zone Discord. But we are also giving away Marvel Snap Zone Premium. We're going to give away either 2 or 3 Marvel Snap Zone Premiums for the month of August, which means you'll get access to a whole bunch of exclusive information and live group coaching from the legendary Den, the main Marvel writer at Marvel Snap Zone and longtime fabulous card player. So you got to be subbed to be in for all that good stuff. Make sure you're subbed. And if you are subbed, this is a brand new format. Do me a favor, hit that like, hit that sub. Let's get this spread. Let's see if people like this. Let's see if this is something we do again. All good? All good. Our first set of questions is Spotlight Cash questions. Fazer asks, do you think skipping certain weeks is good for the long run? I don't think it's good for the long run. I think that one of the big problems with Marvel Snap right now is they want to do a weekly release model, but they don't want to give you something once a week. The point of a weekly release model is to constantly have excitement and chatter about the game, right? To keep things exciting, fresh, new. But even spenders aren't going to have enough spotlight caches for more than 1 or 2 of the new cards in a month, which means that excitement's going to die down. It instead turns to bitterness or disappointment and missing out. It's not great. Should you open 1 cache a week? Absolutely not, unless you are very early in Series 3. If you have fundamentally no Series 5 cards, everything you open with your 1 cache that you earn a week will basically be brand new. Go for it. If you need 2 or 3 of the cards, or want 2 or 3 of the cards, I guess is actually more important than needing them, then also opening a spotlight cache is a very, very good idea once a week. But for most people, if you're later into pull 3, you have a good collection of Series 5 and Series 4 cards, you want to wait until there's something, or preferably 2 somethings, you really want. Arbad would like to know my opinion on the random variants that you get when you own the rolled Series 4 or 5 card. It's terrible. It's my single least favorite thing about the new system, and the fix is stupidly easy. You don't want to do duplicate protection. You think that the whales are going to have all the cards too quickly? Fine. Just make it so that card can't be any of the other 3 you already own. But fine, you're still worried about collection speed. I get it. I don't like it, but I 100% understand it. So if you would roll a Series 5 card for your random card, you should get 3,000 tokens. Enough for half of a Series 5 card. If you'd roll a Series 4 card, you should get 1,500 tokens. Enough for half of a Series 4 card. It makes it so that it's a feel-good moment instead of a feel-bad moment. The whole point is that opening spotlight caches is supposed to be a feel-good moment. Right now, that wild card, I actually happened to get one of the 2 cards at the time I didn't own in the game from mine. Obviously, pure luck. But the feeling of opening these, I've watched people open, I guess probably dozens by now. And very often, they're just getting some crappy variant and it feels bad. I don't want a random variant, ever. I think random variants are dumb. I want specific variants for specific cards I like. The people who want all the variants already have a plan or have most of the variants in order to get them, right? So it's the people who don't want every variant that are sort of getting forced fed these, and it's disappointing and frustrating, and it's got to get fixed. Tucker, so actually, let's go back 2 seconds. Fozzer is a Twitch streamer, phenomenal person, hosts something called Fozzer's Showdown. Lambie's been on it. I've been on that. Eggs has been on it. Lots of great Marvel Snap content creators. Make sure you check Fozzer out on Twitch. And there is a Fozzer Snaps YouTube that has just the showdowns on it. Tucker is also a Twitch streamer and YouTuber who is a phenomenal person who you should absolutely be following. Just great deck guides, great personality, super fun human being. Arbad is not a content creator, but that's one of my homies. Hey Rob. All right. Tucker wants to know why they thought it was necessary to nerf credits, tokens, and gold rewards and caches so dramatically, and how do they fix it? So I don't think they actually nerfed credits. I think you end up with slightly more credits than you used to because so many other things were removed. I think they want gold to be a premium currency like it is in so many games. In a lot of games, the gold currency is something you really only get by spending money. And the only way to really get, quote unquote, enough gold now is to buy the season pass. What they're trying to do, they're not succeeding at this. What they're trying to do is fundamentally make it a $10 a month model through the season pass to say you can basically, with patience, have all the cards and have everything you need for progression for just $10 a month. If you're buying that season pass, you still have enough gold, so they don't feel like they've nerfed gold. I'm okay with this. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. What I really wish they had not changed so much is tokens. I think getting enough for a Series 4 card every month in terms of tokens for free is perfectly viable. You want to say you have to wait 2 months to stock up for a Series 5, fine. But waiting up like 6 months for a Series 5 card is completely freaking absurd. Also, there's almost no worse feeling in the game than opening 50 tokens. So that's just like straight up gotta go as well. This should be an easy fix. Just do the math again, figure out how to give everyone 3,000-ish tokens every month, and call it a day. Say, okay, you got used to tokens, you still want to be able to use tokens. Here's 3,000-ish a month, and if you want to also like throw us money and buy 3 Token Tuesdays, have a wonderful time. You've got the card you really want faster, and if not, you can wait patiently. I think that's a reasonable compromise. They don't seem to be about compromise. They sort of dove headfirst into Wolverthor, another phenomenal YouTuber who has some of the best editing this side of Cozy, is one of the most analytical people I know, and is on the most recent episode of the Snatchers podcast. What's the next Spotlight week? I'm definitely opening at least 2 caches to get the cards I want. I will never open at least 2. We'll get there in 1 second. And Arabad wants to know what's the upcoming cache I'm most looking forward to. So, I will never open if I only have 2, ever. I have every card in the game except Echo as of right now. I bought Galactus. He was my very last card last week because honestly, the Galactus decks look fun, and I got sick of having to bug Roy whenever I wanted to test a Galactus deck. Roy is, for those of you who don't know, the other Snap Judgments host. He's had Galactus forever. When I wanted to test a Galactus deck, I'm like, Roy, get on. It's annoying. I know I'm annoying him. So instead, I will just, I bought Galactus. I had for a whole half hour every single card in the game until Echo came out. I'm not buying Echo. I think you should only open if you have 4, if your collection is big enough to guarantee the card you want, and if you open it sooner, you should stop opening. So I will never open just 2. However, the answer is the same. What is the next card I really want and I'm opening for? I'm definitely opening for X23. Almost definitely, anyway. So I'm not 100% sold on Lady Deathstrike. I think I want Lady Deathstrike, but I'm not sure I want Lady Deathstrike. I know I want X23, but X23's week comes with Silk and whatever. Nebula, 2 other Series 5 cards. So I think there's a chance that X23 is therefore Series 4. Anytime there's a Series 4 card in the caches, I'm using my stored up 24, 25,000, whatever it is, tokens to buy Series 4, and I'm trying to open for Series 5. So if X23 is Series 5, I will be opening for her. If she's Series 4, I will be buying her. I'm all but certain Silver Samurai will be Series 5. Silver Samurai comes with 2 Series 4 cards, don't even care which, but I think Silver Samurai, a 4/5 that discards the lowest cost card from both you and your opponent's hand, is going to be freaking busted. The logic is, you can play him with discard cards like Wolverine and brain. Swarm. There's the card I'm looking for. You can play with the cards like Wolverine and Swarm and basically guarantee that discard. Getting exactly the card you want and potentially hitting something useful in an opponent's hand. Say a Kitty Pride. The other real major great use for him, well, two other really good uses for him. Decken is next month's season pass card, and he creates a Muramasa shard on reveal. He's a 3/4. When that Muramasa shard is destroyed or discarded, Decken doubles in strength. So he'll become a 3/8. I think a 3/4 that becomes a 3/8 into a 4/5 is an absolutely stellar curve. That curve will also make it so your stature is cheap for the rest of the game. And I think that that is what a new stats based deck looks like. And I really, really appreciate and enjoyed those stature Darkhawk decks that Safety Blade made a couple months back at this point. Card spotlights in Echo. Wolverthor, who we just talked about, asks, is Echo worth the caches or tokens? Nope, don't think so. I think that this is the wrong meta for her, and while there might be a right meta for her, I can't like guarantee that there's a right meta for her. Um, the really good deck that's most hurt by discard, I guess Hela, but like I don't care about Hela. Hela should never be meta. So the other place that he that like a Cosmo or an armor most hurts is your destroy decks, and you can't play Echo in a destroy deck because you would just destroy it. So I don't think this card is really worth it. If you really want it, go get it. Obviously, the art on that Spotlight variant is unbelievable. And this is a cool card, but I don't think it's worth it right now. Or 3,000 tokens, maybe the equivalent of 6. No, thank you. Kodo, another member of our Discord. Hey, Kodo. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're watching. Is Echo the same value as Cosmo? I mean, Killmonger is a card, so no. I think like Echo as a 2/2 is almost in many ways better than Echo as a 1/2. Or like it's just, and Cosmo will affect your stuff and Echo won't affect your stuff, right? But like what you're using Echo to protect a lot of the time is your own ongoing cards. And while Enchantress isn't in the meta right now, Rogue really isn't in the meta. These cards are still like perfectly fine. Like your Rogue then becomes an Enchantress instead of being a Rogue, right? Enchantress still takes away that ongoing. It's just not quite the same. It's not quite good enough. And if you ever are curious, go into your game and on the right bottom corner, you can sort by on reveal and ongoing. There's so many more on reveal cards that are powerful in C play in basically any meta than ongoing. There's some really good ongoing cards, but like you better be playing that turn ahead of me. And if you can't, So I'm less than sold on Echo as having the same value as Cosmo, who is, by the way, again, absolutely stellar in the meta. So if you haven't been playing him, start looking at Conquest. Zordrex on Twitter wants to know if the Proving Ground snap on Twitter and the loser concedes is the best way to do it. Look, I'm not going to say best. It's the way I choose to do it. I like to just grind through Proving Grounds. I use it almost as a way to see how good a deck is, not how well I'm playing it, not how well I'm snapping and retreating, not how good my strategy is. We're both in. We're both all in. Let's see if my deck is good enough to win a game, or if it's not, if it's my misplay that causes it, versus the snap mechanic changing things up. Also really cool to see big things go boom because like it's a really good place to play your Hela or Gambit combos or whatever silly nonsense you want because like everyone's just staying in, so if you can get your silly thing to go off, it's super enjoyable. The follow-up question I think is where we're at. Should Proving Grounds be made into a 1-game match? No. Because the way I enjoy it and the way Zordrex apparently enjoys it is this one way. Doesn't mean that that's the only way to enjoy it or the way everyone has to enjoy it. I know our friend Safety Blade is one of the best players in the game, one of the best deck builders in the game, and he hates it. He feels like he has to wait like a minute for all of his Proving Ground games, whatever his regional matchmaking is, and he wants to play like a full Conquest mode game when he's playing it. He doesn't want to just snap and like run into bounces people he believes exploit the system. Do I agree? No. But my perspective isn't the only one on a game. So let people do it the way they want. If we both want to snap, great. If you snap and the opponent doesn't, you go, I don't want to deal with this crap, concede, go on, play another game where you can do that. Killer Octopus on Twitter wants to know if they'll drop the numbers from 5 to 4 for Conquest Infinite. I don't think so, but it wouldn't shock me if they did win 4 out of 5 or win 5 out of 6 or 7. I think that is much more fair. Sometimes you just run into your hard counter. If you run into your hard counter, I don't think your whole run should be for waste. I think if you're running to your hard counter more than once, you might have made a bad meta call and deserve to suffer for it. That's my early logic for Conquest. Kodo, welcome back, asks, assuming progress is the key metric, what proportion of effort should players focus on ladder versus conquest? How does that vary with player collection level? Straight up, I don't think it matters. Whatever makes you happy. Whatever you're enjoying more is fine. I think that they're sort of prioritizing different skills. So conquest is more skill intensive, but it's also easier to get lucky because it's a smaller sample, right? Ladder, you can develop some bad habits because you have functionally infinite cubes. But if your habits are bad, you're going to lose more over time because the sample size is so much larger. I don't think it matters. I think if your collection level is low, you should probably play ladder. Collection level matters more in Conquest because the player base and matchmaking is different. So if your collection level is lower, you'd rather play other low collection level people. Ladder is better for you. But short of that, I think it's largely preference with different pros and cons for you. Lan on Twitter asks, Spider-Ham and Iceman, in your opening hand, opponent's deck is unknown. What's your play on turn 1? And if you did know your opponent's deck, which decks dictate which? The answer is always Iceman. There's never a time I think where Spider-Ham is good. Knowing what your opponent's playing is good, but I can know what my opponent's playing on turn 2 or 3 just as well. Iceman, Iceman on turn 1 has a chance of ruining their gameplay. Iceman on turn 1 that hits Sarah. Iceman on turn 1 that hits against Lockjaw or Thor can completely derail them. Iceman that hits Professor X. Spider-Ham can derail them in a similar way, but they're not going to play the thing Spider-Man hits potentially early game, right? It's very likely that the thing Spider-Man hits is something they couldn't play until turn, 4, 5, 6. Whereas Iceman can affect something immediately. If you get lucky and hit that Kitty Pryde or hit Monkey, their game plan is different. There's no real chance of Spider-Ham doing that. Iceman should always be the first play. Love that question, by the way. If we do this again, folks, send me more questions like this. I really, really enjoyed thinking about it. Game Health. The Dodger, our buddy on our Discord, and TikTok, our new friend on the Discord. Hi, folks. Ask specifically of Lauren Whatever and myself. But Lauren Whatever is a Marvel Snapstone writer. She did all the math for Spotlight caches. I think that this question is important enough to know. What's the advice on Token Tuesdays? If you don't have enough for Cosmic Wildfire, is it better to save gold for the next bundle like that one, or just go for Token Tuesdays? Bundles like Cosmic Wildfire don't appear every month. In fact, it's been several months since a Cosmic Wildfire similar bundle has appeared, and we don't have one more on the horizon as far as we know that involves gold, although the cash bundle, the Pro Bundle Mark II, is pretty close in value. If you feel like blowing $100 on the game, I may not do that. So if you're gaming the system properly, and I have a video that's linked somewhere in here about how to game the system so that you can, with just the Season Pass, get every card. Season Pass plus using your gold on Token Tuesdays is enough to get every card. Feel free to just buy Token Tuesdays. You don't have to worry. And Woke on Twitter asks, in very bad faith, does Snap last another year with the player base gone and SD hemorrhaging cash? Hey, if the player base is gone and SD is hemorrhaging cash, no. Do I think either of those are true? Absolutely not. There's still an awful lot of people that play this game. Chill out, people. Y'all gotta breathe at least a little. Everyone's perspective is different. Some people really love the changes. Some people really hate it. Recognize that your corner of the internet, what you're seeing is not everybody, and just calm down. Breathe. I don't want to say touch grass because Turbo has been making fun of us with touching grass lately, and he's our next question. But some grass wouldn't be sad to be touched. All right, Turbo wants to know if the 800 gold variant is a good deal, and the math says no. Like, I think random variants are generally absolutely terrible, and charging more for a random variant with a chance of a higher rarity is kind of useless to me. Just get the variants you want. But again, unless you're trying to collect every variant, in which case just buy out your shop and go crazy. Have fun, I guess. But like, if you don't want every variant, just buy the variants you want. I think that the 800 gold variant is an absolutely terrible deal. The math supports me, by the way. I don't have the math in front of me, but it does, I promise. Miss Coda's back again. Does this game promote gambling to children? It's a big story in the UK. Yeah. Yeah, it promotes gambling a whole lot. Like the whole snap mechanic and then the gotcha mechanics are all gambly stuff. So it is basically every online game kids play right now. But I'm going to question two things. One, if every one like outside of base Christian morality, I'm not sure that that's a big deal. I'm not sure I actually care if it's promoting gambling to children at least a little bit. But my other big thing is I don't, despite this being a quote unquote children's card game, I don't think that many children play it. And I only have one real piece of evidence that I know of. I can see my own audience's demographic info, and they're not kids. They're like almost all like 18 to 45-year-old people. If you're not one of those in that group, please let me know because I think that's interesting too. But they're almost all like 18 to 45-year-old people. If they're, and like I've got a 7-year-old and I'm a teacher, so I know a lot of freaking kids. And if they're into something, they're watching videos on it. My son is watching Minecraft and Roblox, right? Kids are watching like Call of Duty videos and whatever other nonsense. I don't know if this game has a large young player base, and maybe that's the difference between me, who has like almost 2,000 subs, and Cozy, who has like 100,000. Maybe all the kids are just watching him, but there's something different here. I don't know what it is. I think that I'm curious if that demographic info matches up at all with our assumption that card games are for kids, so kids must be playing this. And if kids aren't playing it, then it's sort of a moot point. Marvel Snap Variants says, what is my most wanted variant that has eluded me in the variant shop? And hi, Marvel Snap Variants. Thank you so much for the questions. This is from Twitter. I want a cool surfer. I think I want the scan surfer of those that are released. There's several unreleased, but I'm going to limit it to released. I've got only this one, the extra surfer you got from the season pass. That's fine. I've got a black and white. It's really cool. But I want another surfer. Surfer's like my favorite card that I don't have a completely distinct variant for, and I want one. They can sell me one. It'd be great. All right. Here, Nimbus, who's awesome and just started a podcast. Check Here Nimbus out on Twitter. They have a brand new podcast about Marvel Snap. I'm going to check it out like immediately, but Here Nimbus is an extremely cool person, so it's worth checking out anything an extremely cool person does. Does Spider-Man share too much design space with Professor X? No, I don't think so. I mean, there's a lot of cards that do relatively similar things. I mean, Korg and Rockslide share the same basic design space, right? Spider-Man and Professor X are different enough. Professor X letting you play there, but also your opponent sneak things in there with relative ease, versus Professor X who says, no, this is completely locked. I think it's different enough. I honestly do. I also, and this isn't usual for games like this for me. It's not usually the type of control I like. I think it's a healthy place for the game to be, and it does a lot to balance out this game is all about going tall nature that so many are exploiting. I think Spider-Man and Professor X do a good job at limiting that. And per minute, another homie from the Fozzer Discord. Hey, wants to know, do I read comics and any Marvel characters I'd like to see featured in Snap? I used to read an absolute ton of comics. With breaks from my childhood through like 30, I'm 41, I read an absolute ton of comics. I read a ton of like indie stuff, and like 80% of Marvel and 80% of DC. Then New 52 happened, and I read it for a while, and then they canceled like everything I liked in New 52 and kept pushing the weird, terrible 90s nostalgia shit that I wasn't into. So I ditched New 52 completely, and slowly but surely not reading that led me to reading less Marvel. And as I was reading less Marvel, eventually I fell off comics completely. I came back a little bit for the Hickman run of X-Men, and I've been reading a lot of the Krakoa era X-Men, and I really, really enjoy it. That said, the single comic I think I would like the most, and I believe it's a Fred Van Lent run, is the Mighty or Incredible Hercules. I think it would be an extremely cool card. I'd also really like Amadeus Cho from the same run. There's a lot of characters I'd like, but those are the two that like immediately came to mind when I thought about this, and I figure there's probably a reason for that, so that's what I'm going with. I'm not going to tell you what I think those cards can do because our boy Drewberry, if you haven't checked Drewberry's Snap out, does an absolute masterful job of this. And I'm not going to give you a third-rate answer when Drewberry's out there doing A+ work. All right. If you only cared about Snap stuff, it's time to go. I appreciate you watching. Please hit that like and sub button. Thanks for watching for so long. This is the pure miscellaneous section. Our boy Rob wants to know when I'm going to stop doing 2 videos a day. I don't know.